Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I want to kind of talk about why it's a little hard to go seek a therapist and go get help. Now, before I get into that, I haven't really done a video in about 2 weeks, and I don't know if you noticed or heard, but kind of the reason why I haven't done a video is because Dallas is 6-7, and that shit is depressing. Now, that's funny really for two reasons, right? Number one is they are 6-7, right? They've had two kind of blowout losses, so they have kind of played a little bad. Secondly, though, you hear stuff like this all the time, right? Like, people say stuff like that all the time, right? It's depressing, right? And they're talking about something that's like, a lot of times you look at it and you're like, that's not even something you should be depressed about. Like, there's actual, like, things that are going on in people's lives that are actually depressing, and for you to use something like that to say you're depressed about it, it kind of makes it to where nobody takes you seriously when you say you do need help. It kind of makes it to where, people use that word of, oh, it's depressing, and people use it in a way that shouldn't really be used. And what happens is we become, as a society, really desensitized to, that word in general and what it actually means to be depressed. Obviously, I wanted to start with that aspect of it, right? I think a lot of times it's hard for people to get help just because of the way society, kind of views seeking help and going to a therapist, right? Even though, when you talk to people, everyone says, oh yeah, it's great to go get help and everything. You hear these kind of jabs, like subtly, right, about how if you go to see a therapist, you're crazy, or there's something wrong with you, and all these negative things, and you hear it, in certain ways, and it comes out. And again, you hear it all the time. You kind of just get the same mentality as everyone else, where you actually truly believe that it is something that you have to have something seriously wrong with you to go. And so a lot of people, end up not going. A lot of people don't receive help, and a lot of people, kind of like myself, even the ones that do seek help, it took them much longer than they would have liked. Now, obviously, once you understand that, your past is your past, and you can't really change that, but you're thankful that you did go when you went and got the help you got is great. But I think most people that even seek help, if you'd ask them, they would all say the same thing as, they wish they would have gone sooner. Now, with that being said, I wanted to kind of talk about that, right? Because I remember myself, right, when I first really even decided to email a therapy center to go get help, I kind of remember not wanting to tell anybody, right? Friends, family, like nobody. I didn't want the therapy center to like send me anything in the mail, right, with my name on it that had anything close to do with therapy and all that. So I remember I was terrified of, my family finding out, or friends and everything. And, in that moment, I kind of was like everybody else, right? I had the negative, thoughts about seeking help and going to see a therapist. So I had to work on that as well. I no longer view it as a negative. I think it's the biggest positive, really, that you could do for yourself. And because I kind of believe that, I have no problem telling people I go to therapy. But at the other end, I still understand that most people have the, common belief that it is for people that are, crazy and stuff like that. So I do understand that sometimes when I tell people, they are going to have a reaction, that's going to be kind of taken back, And one example I have is someone I used to work with. We used to joke all the time, and for some reason, I think she was on my Instagram or something, she had seen a picture, and she asked me who that was, and I said, that's my therapist. And she's like, oh, you're playing, quit playing with me, and I'm like, no, I'm being serious, like, that's my therapist. And, she thought I was joking, because I joke all the time, and she made a comment, she's like, oh, I know you're crazy, but you're not that crazy, right? And again, it's one of those subtle little jabs. And I think once she realized that I actually go to therapy and that actually is my therapist, she felt really bad, right? She's like, I'm so sorry. And she was trying to apologize and everything. And again, I understood that she wasn't saying it in a negative, like towards me specifically. It's just a common belief of going to therapy in general, right? So I knew when she found out that I actually do go to therapy, that was a more sincere reaction of her apologizing. The first part wasn't that necessarily she thought I was crazy if I was going to therapy. It's just a misconception that I think a lot of people have towards seeking help. And with that kind of being the common belief of most people, actually, it makes it tough for those of you out there that want to get help, right? Because you feel like you really can't talk to friends or family about it because most people have that common misconception, and it makes it to where you know it's almost like a secret. You can't tell people of what's going on, and that is probably one of the worst things when you're actually struggling, right? Is the ability to not feel comfortable to really talk to anybody about it, and that kind of keeps it worse, right? It keeps it there and kind of makes it worse, actually. So with this video, I kind of maybe, I guess I'm hoping to maybe change your guys' perception of just how people view it in general, and make you understand that if everyone in society kind of looks at it kind of negatively, right? It's not even really their view. It's just what they've picked up through what they've went through, hearing subtle jabs about it themselves as they grew up. So it's not even that they have a negative attitude towards it. It's just the way kind of society kind of perceives therapy and self-help and kind of getting help. And again, I kind of want to hope to change your guys' mentality so you understand that even though, you're going to go to therapy, or hopefully you decide to go to therapy and get the help you need, understanding that yes, there may be that initial negative jabs and you'll hear it subtly. That's kind of the way people kind of been brought up to kind of, say certain things about, mental health, in like a jokingly way, because not a lot of people honestly know how to have those difficult conversations, so everyone kind of jokes about it and everything. So kind of a shorter video today. Again, I kind of just want to help those of you out there that, you've been thinking about it and you're not sure you want to, and you're not sure if you could deal with the backlash coming from friends and maybe family members, or, you're just not sure how they're going to respond. And I just kind of want you guys to maybe get a different perspective and just understand that just people in general, yes, they may think and have kind of negative thoughts when it comes to mental health and therapy. But again, you need to do what you need to do to get help and to better yourself and your situation. And just understanding that it's kind of just a topic of where everyone tries to kind of keep it light. So it's not that they're, again, negative. It's just kind of what society is really conditioned to do in those kind of tough topics. And also kind of a good point is, if you're watching the video, maybe you don't struggle with depression or anxiety, but you do sometimes talk like this, right? You take those jabs, not necessarily at people again, right? You just make a joke in a general setting, right? Where there's a bunch of people, right? Friends and family, right? When you make these jokes, how, go to therapy, you're crazy and stuff like that, what happens is if some of those people actually are thinking and contemplating going, it's making it a situation that's not only really uncomfortable for them, but if they do have a problem and they do want to talk to someone, they're going to be a lot less likely to come to you to talk to you about it, because you say these subtle jabs in a general setting, right? Again, I understand you don't mean them, right? It's just a conditioning from society that it's okay to joke in that negative aspect about mental health. But again, if you're making these jokes and again, you mean nothing by them, but the person who's going through it, they don't know that. They feel as if you are talking about them. So if they were to talk to you about their problems, you're just going to keep making fun of them like you're doing in a general setting. So, maybe if there's you out there, it'll help you to maybe recognize your own patterns of making these jokes, and maybe you'll stop and, maybe you'll, by stopping, you'll have someone come to you and actually talk to you about something that's really going on with them, and maybe, you'll be able to help somebody too. And again, that's the end of the video. So if you liked the video, make sure you hit the like button. Please subscribe as well. I kind of post videos every week. And again, I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Have a good one, guys.